Strand just got a massive upgrade in Heresy Act 3, and this build takes full advantage of it. With new artifact perks that enhance Tangles, Unraveling, and Sever, we're pushing Strand to its full potential. This build isn't just about clearing out waves of enemies, it's a powerhouse for both ad clear and boss damage. Want to try the build out for yourself with a single click? Then be sure to check out the dim link in the description. But if you want to master the art of Tangle and truly dominate everything in Destiny 2, then stick around, you won't regret it. Let's talk about which exotic armor piece you're going to need for this build if you want to deal more damage to the exotic SMG we are using for this build. The exotic armor you're going to want to put is called Foetracer. Whenever you hit an ability with an elite mini boss, champion, or a boss, or a guardian, it would give you 25% increase in damage depending on what ability you're using. So in this case, it's Strand, and for our kinetic weapon and our power weapon, we are using Strand. The kinetic weapon is a exotic Strand machine gun called the Barrow-Dyad, and for your heavy, you can use any Strand heavy weapon you like, but in this build, I decided to go for the stranded linear fusion rifle called the Scintillation. As you're watching this video right now, as soon as this video is up, you can be able to farm this linear fusion rifle, and if you guys are struggling to getting this linear fusion rifle, I do a lot of helps on Twitch and Kick, and if you need help or just want to hang out, I'll be right there. And that increased weapon damage buff will last up to 16 seconds, but sadly the buff is not refreshable, so you can't hit an enemy again with that ability to refresh the timer. And also, whenever you kill that highlighted enemy, it will spawn in a subclass matching elemental pickup. To make it more simpler, if you were to kill that highlighted enemy, let's just say for example you were to kill him with an arc weapon, it will drop an Ionic Trace. If you were to kill him with a Strand weapon, it will drop a Tangle. If you were to kill him with your Solar, it will drop a Fire Sprite, and etc. But in this build, we are using 2 Strand weapons and 1 arc weapon. Might as well we're talking about which abilities you need to activate Foetracer. Let's head to the abilities. There's actually 4 ways for you to activate Foetracer for the increased damage buff. The first method is by activating your Strand melee, which is Threaded Spike that will sever targets. But if you don't know what sever does, it basically makes that enemy deal less damage to you. And if you want to know how you can be able to get a Tangle, all you need to do is to kill enemies that are having Strand debuffs, such as Sever, Unraveling, and Suspend. But in this case, we're going to Sever and Unravel. Also, too, for the Threaded Spike, whenever you toss it, it would hit enemies, and it will eventually come back to you, just like a boomerang. And once you catch it, it will return some of the amount of energy back. The second method to activate Foetracer is Grapple. There's 2 ways to activate this. 1, get a direct hit on that enemy with the grapple, or 2, you can use your grapple melee. And as you do that grapple melee, you will unravel that target. The third method is your super, and the only super we have is Silk Strike. And last but not least, to activate Foetracer, on one of the aspects, you're going to want to put Whirling Maelstrom. This basically converts your Tangle into a Beyblade. You can either throw them or destroy them to activate this. And as the Beyblade hits targets, it will emit unraveling projectiles. You could also be able to sever targets in one of the seasonal artifacts, which is called Vile Weave. Targets hit by your Tangles are severed. Reduce Tangle cooldown whenever you pick it up. Your main goal is to pick up your Tangles if you want to spam it. But in most cases for this build, we are going to be producing tons of Tangles, which will be converted into those Beyblades to give us mostly a 100% uptime for highlighting enemies, which will equivalent to giving you increased weapon damage. And for the second aspect I went with is Widow's Silk. Basically gives you an additional grenade charge, but if you do have the grapple, it will create a grapple point. Speaking of grapple points, for your Whirling Maelstrom, it's basically like a grapple point as well in a way. Here's how you can be able to do it. You're first going to want to either destroy it or throw it. Once it converts into a Beyblade, you can basically use your grapple point to grapple onto that Tangle, and you can use your grapple melee. And you're probably wondering, like, does it waste your grapple whenever you do that? No, it does not. So you can basically use it infinite amounts of times. So grapple the Tangle melee, grapple the Tangle melee, grapple the Tangle melee. You can also do this with a Tangle as well. If it's just laying there chilling there, you can just grapple on the Tangle and do that grapple melee. Any of the 2 would work. So in total, we are going to be having 4 fragments, and let's head to those. The first fragment you're going to want to put is Thread of Warding. Picking up an Orb of Power grants Woven Mail, but sadly, you'll get -10 resilience. You can also get even more Woven Mail as well with this seasonal artifact, which is called 2 Shreds. Whenever you deal sustained damage to severed targets, it will unravel them. If you were to defeat a severed target, it will create a hotspot of Strand energy, granting Woven Mail to nearby allies for a short duration. So whenever you enter that Woven hotspot, it would give you 10 seconds of Woven Mail. So all you would have to do is get a kill with your Beyblade, and it would spawn in tons of Woven hotspots. Also too, I forgot to mention, you don't really have to put this fragment. I just did it just to refresh the timer. But if you don't want to put Thread of Warding, you could also go for Thread of Propagation, because we are going to be grapple meleeing a lot. But if you want to get more unraveling rounds with your strand weapons, be sure to put Thread of Propagation, because whenever you get a powered melee final blow, it will grant your strand weapons unraveling rounds. And you also get plus 10 strength. The next fragment I put is Thread of Isolation. Landing rapid precision hits emits a severing burst from the target. I put this fragment because of the seasonal artifact I just mentioned, 2 shreds, because as we deal precision damage, it would sever the target, and if we were to deal damage even further, it will unravel them. And that will also give us that woven mail hotspot. The next fragment I went with is Thread of Evolution. Threadlings travel faster and deal additional damage, and you also get plus 10 intellect. You guys are probably wondering, like, why is Super running Thread of Evolution? We're not going to be spawning in tons of threadlings, so why even put this? Well, there's only one seasonal artifact that will allow you to spawn in threadlings, and it's called Horde Shuttle. Damaging unravel targets with a weapon occasionally spawns a threadling. Also, if it's boosted, threadlings sever targets that they damage. And in order for us to get unraveling rounds for the other artifact you're going to want to put is unraveling orbs. Picking up an orb of power or a tingle, it will grant strand weapons unraveling rounds. And if it's boosted, strand weapons deal increased damage to strand debuff targets, so this is an extra plus 5% increase in damage, just to tie it to the extra damage for Foetracer. So in total, you're going to be getting 30% increase in damage. So we are going to be unraveling, severing, and all of that stuff, and we are using an SMG, and that thing sprays hella fast, so as long as we're damaging those strand debuffed enemies, we're going to be spawning in a lot of threadlings, and trust me, we're going to be spawning in a lot of threadlings. The last fragment I went with is Thread of Continuity, just to increase the duration of suspend, unravel, and sever. But again, we're only going to be unraveling and severing targets. So this will increase all of the duration for the strand debuffs by 50%. So the exotic SMG I went with is Barrow-Dyad, because now it is powerful than ever before. Now all you would have to do is deal sustained damage to a single target to charge up Panic Response. And here's what it does. This weapon generates a blight as it deals damage. While not firing, the blight depletes, and the magazine is gradually refilled. Reload the weapon to convert stored blight into blight seekers. So all you would have to do is deal sustained damage. It will charge up those blight projectiles. Once it's at 6 charges, it would want increase your reload speed, and whenever you reload it, the next shot you will inflict will shoot out all of those blighted projectiles, and they will deal a lot of damage to that target. The weapon perk you're going to want to go for the Barrow-Dyad is Target Lock. Damage increases the longer this weapon remains on a target, and our goal for this build is to do what Target Lock does. I'm going to quickly skim through the other 2 weapons, but for the energy weapon, I went with the Psychopomp just to tie it to the seasonal artifacts, just to make us produce a bunch of lightning strikes. And the perks you're going to want to go for is Ambitious Assassin and Rolling Storm. Mainly Rolling Storm, because this one will give you the ability to activate Bolt Charge. So whenever you get a kill, it will give you a Bolt Charge, and while you're amplified, final blows grant additional Bolt Charges. I already mentioned it. For your heavy weapon, you can choose any strand weapon you like, but I went with the Scintillation. If you do need help in Grandmaster Nightfalls to get the adept version of it, I do stream on Twitch and Kick. I'll see you guys there. And the perks you're going to want to go for are Rewind Wounds and also Bait and Switch. If you guys want to freely copy the whole artifacts I was using for this build, feel free to do so right now. Let's head to the stats for this build. All you would need to run is Resilience, just to give you that 30% damage reduction. And yes, this does stack with Woven Mail. So Woven Mail is a 45% damage reduction, and if you have 100 Resilience, it's a 30% damage reduction. So in total, you're going to be getting a 75% damage reduction. So here are all of the armor mods I am using for this build. I'm mainly tying it to all of the 3 weapons